Hey YouTube, we're going to dehydrate some apples today. So about a week ago, I had hit up our local orchard and they were closed. And I was so upset, and it was the end of the season and I was really depressed. But they announced that they were going to open the following day to just one more day to unload some of the other apples that they had. And would be open as long as there were apples available. So I went to see what they had, and I usually pick up Melrose apples. They're my favorites, and they dehydrate and freeze dry really, really well. They're so delicious. They didn't have them, but they did have are these Arkansas blacks, and they look just like a plum. They were darker a few days ago, believe it or not, but they're beautiful apples, and they taste like an apple and a berry had a baby. They're very good. And I also picked up some wine sap apples, which I hadn't had before either. And I would have really mistaken these for like, I don't know, a Braeburn apple. Is that what they are? Or just another common apple. But these are really tart. They're very delicious. They're not as tart as, say, a green apple, but these are going to dehydrate really well. So let's get started. All right, we're going to start with a big bowl of water and add a little bit of lemon juice to that. This is what I have today, so this is what I'm working with. And I'm putting that juice in there, of course, to keep my apples from browning. And I'm going to just start peeling them and peeling them and peeling them. I have half a bushel of apples to get done because they don't wait. I began with my Arkansas blacks. I've got them all peeled. They're in a bowl, sort of soaking with that lemon water. And I want to show you how I choose to cut mine. I know people have a lot of different methods, but I do it this way. I take and cut my apples in half, and then I'm going to lay it flat down and just start cutting. And I like my apple pieces pretty thick. And I do that so that I have the opportunity later to use them for all kinds of things. Like if I want to make a pie with the dehydrated apples, I can do that. Or crumple them to put them in whatever kind of food I want. I could put them in a sandwich. The knife. You've got to try this, okay? Apples with brie and honey on sourdough and grill it. You're welcome. So I've sliced my apples pretty thick, and some of them do have the seed, and I choose to just cut that like so. So I have this, and then I have that piece, and this isn't going to waste because I store all of my apple scraps because I make apple scrap jelly, and I am not a great jelly maker. I try and try. Some of my jellies and jams come out really, really good, and some don't. But I always keep the ones that don't come out well, because here's what you could do. You take your floppy jam that you made that didn't set, and you use it as an alternative for honey. You can use that in your tea. You could use it in any kind of recipe that calls for a sweetener, say honey, and you can use that failed jam or jelly recipe in replacement of honey, and it works really well. I've got one apple chopped, and I'm going to put it right back into that lemon water, and that way I can try to keep these apples from turning brown. And I just keep on chopping and chopping and saving all of my apple scraps over there so that I can use them to make apple jelly. And like I was saying about the saving your failed jams, here's one that I did last year. This was corn cob jelly that did not set. You could see it's just totally liquid. And I tried and tried, and the other jars set fine. But this batch, I think there were 4 of them, didn't set. And I kept them anyway because it tastes so good that I thought, well, I can use this to go ahead and replace honey. And I tried it and I was so excited because it worked perfectly. Just a little bit. Works just like honey. Pour it in my tea and it's like I'm not missing any honey at all. And with the price of honey the way it is right now, I never have to worry about running out because I have all these other alternatives. I've got quite a bit of my black Arkansas done, and I do cut them thick. Can you see that? They're pretty good. I like them that way. I'm putting them in my dehydrator now, getting them going. I hope I have enough room in this to fill it. If I don't, I'm just going to have to put some of these in the freeze dryer. Now, I haven't used my freeze dryer yet for apples. So I don't know how long they'll take or anything. I'm not sure if I'll prefer them over dehydrated either. I don't know. Another thing is, I know like my daughter-in-law, she will kind of saturate her sliced apples in cinnamon, and oh God, the smell when they're drying, it's really, really magic and really good. And I do that sometimes. Today I'm just going to go ahead and put my apples on there plain, and you could see how I give them a little bit of space in between so there's a good amount of airflow. I don't want my dehydrator to overheat. Well, I've gotten pretty good at figuring out how many apples it takes to fill my dehydrator because I filled 5 trays. It just filled perfectly. And now I'm going to set this up out in my garage. I have a space out there, put away from everything, set away from everything so that I can run my dehydrator. And I wanted to show you, I have all of these awesome apple scraps. There's a lot here. And I will be saving those to make more apple scrap jelly. And even if it doesn't set up, I don't care because I'll use it to replace honey. I wanted to show you some of my dried apple jars. I keep several of these in my pantry because, like I said, I go through a lot of apples. And these are the Melrose from last year. Obviously, I didn't put any cinnamon or any flavor on these, but I do break them up and add them to salads and anything that I want, just like I would if I had a brand new fresh apple. I can add these to those things. If I want to rehydrate them, I can. Usually, I just keep them dried and I add to whatever I'm making, and they're just fantastic. And I don't have to worry about what kind of quality apple I'm going to get, or if it's going to cost a fortune to buy and then throw away. I can't stand that. So let me show you. These guys, even after a year, they're still good to go. I don't know why anybody needs candy when you have stuff like this. So good. I have to process all this. And a majority of these are wine saps. I'm going to freeze dry them. I want to see how they'll turn out. Maybe they'll become my new favorite. If you are dehydrating your apples, you want to remember to keep them in there and turn it off every now and again. Let it just cool off just ever so much and pull an apple out and give it a try to see if it breaks the way that you want it to. Now, naturally, some people don't like them completely hard and crunchy. Some people will eat them while they're still a little bit soft. And I suppose if you're keeping them for a short term, that would be fine. I prefer to dehydrate to the point of absolute dryness because I want these to last and last and last. And like I told you, these are from last year. And I can still go on those. But I just like to have a surplus because obviously this isn't enough to do quite a pie. If I chose to do a pie, you know, I would need probably 2 jars of these, even though they're going to reconstitute and get bigger. I mean, I like a big, fat, thick apple pie. It would take at least 2. This would be enough if I reconstituted them to probably do a crumble, or I can add them to pancakes or anything like that. All those wonderful things that you love to have apples for. This is a great alternative to keep in your house. And then you don't have to worry about you know, the quality and the price of whatever's out there. You can get a really decent apple at any time of the year and have it however you want. But that's what I look for. Now, obviously, the apples that I put in the dehydrator, they're going to be going all night long. they're going to need several hours. I mean, that's 5 trays of really thick cut apples, and you saw what I have left. I have a long way to go. I'm just going to keep on peeling, keep on dicing and chopping, and I'm going to put them in the freeze dryer, and that'll be a new thing for me. The wine sap apples and what's left of the Arkansas Blacks are ready to go into my freeze dryer. We'll see these finished probably sometime tomorrow. It's been 2 days and it took some time to get all of those apples processed, but they're done. All of the dehydrated apples are finished. All of the freeze-dried apples are finished. And the difference is, it's actually fascinating. I love it. These are the freeze-dried apples, and you can see how they've kept their color. They've kept their shape. They actually look just like I cut up an apple and have it sitting out. It's the same. They came out really airy, really light and crisp, just break. The taste is fantastic. I'm really excited to have them. Like as I had been saying at the beginning of these videos, the quality of what we're getting for our money at the store is just so bad. I don't want to have to keep going back and wasting money, especially after that last bag of, what were they, Honeycrisp apples, which should be really, really good apples. And I brought them home and they looked great. They were fat. They were awful. I cut them open. They were so mealy, so gross. I didn't even feed them to my dogs. It was sad. So I just want to have a surplus of things that I don't have to go to the store and get anymore. I can have them here at home. And everybody's situation is different. Maybe you can't go and buy quantities of things. But now and then, like if you're going to the store and you buy your regular groceries and you happen to see a sale on persimmons like I just found, go and grab a few. And then try to preserve those. They dehydrate really well too. Here are the dehydrated apples. You can see how they've changed color just a little bit. I did not put cinnamon on these. They just changed color. And maybe they were too thin. I don't know, but I don't care. I love them. I'll eat them just the way they are. These are a little crisp. They're much chewier than the freeze-dried apples. And either one can be used in recipes and breads and cakes, pies, anything like that. If you reconstitute them, you can use them the same way. You can actually cook them down and make a maple apple butter, or maybe some kind of a syrup or a jam even. You can do those things with all of that. Something else that I have been preserving as I can are persimmons. I really love them. I love them, and I've always dehydrated them. And Marty and I, we've been on road trips where I'll just grab a handful of those and keep them in the car and snack on those as we're on our road trip. And they're so good and keep you tided over until your next meal. But this time, since I have a freeze dryer now, I was able to freeze dry them, and boy, it's so good. I'm so glad they turned out like they did. And again, the same thing. You can reconstitute them, use them in bread or whatever. However, like a lot of people, I just spoke to the gal at the store when I was picking up the last 2 bags of persimmons. And the cashier, she says, I've gone my whole life and I had never had a persimmon. And I thought they were gross and didn't want to try them until last year. And I tried them and she says, oh my gosh, they're so good. You know, they're a berry. It's just a giant berry. Isn't that wild? And here how this is how they turned out from freeze drying, nice and crisp. They're super addicting. And I don't think I'm even that these will last long enough to be put into a bread or a cake. Because I've already started in on the jar. I can't help it. I love dried fruits. I love fruits. So anyhow, that was the video for the dehydrated apples. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and that you might try doing some freeze-dried and dehydrated produce yourselves. And let me know what you think, especially if you can get your hands on a good batch, a good crop, and then try to preserve that so that you aren't going back to the store and buying more and getting a bad, something gross for your money and end up not even feeding your dogs. I hope that you guys are all doing well today, and we're all kind of on pins and needles with what's going on and with the election. Just try to stay busy and calm and in prayer, and I hope that you guys are all hanging in there. We're all in this together, going through the same thing. But don't forget to like the video, share with like-minded people. I know some people that I've been speaking to who are much older than I am, who are just now starting to learn how to dehydrate and how to put food away. And I think that it's an awesome thing. It's weird. It's like this whole knowledge just skipped over like through the 70s and 80s. And so consequently, people like me didn't get taught how to do this stuff when I was young, to put away food. And, whole generation of people coming up and learning how to do it, and even teaching the generation ahead of them. I think it's awesome. So you guys have a really good day. Stay focused, stay peaceful, and subscribe if you like the content. And we'll talk to you guys again soon.